Do edit all this out. Howdy, folks. I'm back with the final update and drawing near to the conclusion of this conundrum series of battles here. Let me go to the macro here, and you can see that Oregon, of course, it's shenanigans, declaring war on me and everything, and all the things that he did and said. I went ahead and focused my attention on him. Um, Northern California, who was his coalition ally, was basically in my way. So you can see I've dealt with California and everything that he and they both, all the territories that they occupied. Oregon had taken over Alaska. I went up, cleared it all out, and then Yukon and West British Columbia decided to take it all back over, basically. So I've conquered Alaska basically 3 times. But I'm finally clearing all that up. I've got a few militia units and things running around up here just trying to take the territory back over. Uh, this is Northwest Territories. They have not declared war against me. They're still neutral right now. Uh, I may or may not go after them. I don't know. I probably will, but there's only 2 cities that they control, so I will probably go after them if nothing else. Over here on the Quebec side, uh, so North and South Quebec. I cleaned up South Quebec here. Uh, North Quebec, of course, declared war on me. It's computer controlled. It was a member of the coalition with Illinois and Minnesota, as well as West Ontario, which is still neutral to me. Uh, I had conversations with them, and they basically gave me my permission to go across their territories. That's why they're in green, even though technically we're enemies in this game. I accidentally had attacked a city that Illinois controlled and didn't realize it, because what had happened is it had revolted away from me and went to Illinois, and I just was not paying attention, and I took it back over, and mistakenly thinking that it was like South Quebec or something, and it turned out it was Illinois. So I was everything Illinois was suddenly red to me, and I'm like, I didn't mean to do that, So uh, got that cleared up, and so we both adjusted in the diplomacy here, so that we gave each other the right of way. You see Minnesota and Illinois here, and I did the same thing for them. So then we had discussed that basically they were pissed off at Oregon also for some just stupid stuff he said, and so we agreed to just kind of team up and just erase him off the map. And you can see where I have been cleaning up over here, Newfoundland, Quebec, all this kind of stuff. South Quebec, Minnesota came in and took it all over, or most of it over, which is fine. I'd already beaten it like 3 times, but it's one of those things. All it takes is like one unit when you're asleep, and he'll come in and take back half the territory in one night. If you don't essentially have a defensive unit in every single damn territory, or long distance shooting railroad guns, and I didn't have anything up there at that time. I had one gun, and it got killed when I was asleep, and I had three or four or five on the way up there, and so uh, right now I've got seven, and here's an eighth one up there. So I've got plenty of weaponry up there now. But it's such long distances, and the terrain, the thick forest and everything, takes forever to travel through. And I had battleships up there helping out where they could, but it's to get from the south side of this peninsula here to the north side. That's a day, day and a half travel. So it's large distances. It's actually the two places I recommend people do not try to take over and focus on. Do have a little side action, kind of like I did it. Is the Quebec area, Newfoundland, all this up in here. It's pain in the ass to capture, and you don't get that much for it in relation to the amount of effort you have to put in. And Cuba. If you don't hit Cuba the way I hit Cuba, battleships on the north, battleships on the south, and then railroad guns, or similarly powerful, a lot of hit points, stack of tanks or something like that, and just walk them right on down this thing. Have some anti-aircraft or whatever. You never know what you're going to get hit with, but it's the only way to take over Cuba, and you have to focus on it, concentrate on it, and basically do it in a day. Because when you go to bed, you're going to wake up and go, where's my units? How come I don't have this island? And you'll find out Cuba retook 3/4 of the island back from you. And it's also, Cuba is difficult. If you don't build, here, let me, forgot the name of it, propaganda offices. You got to build one or two propaganda offices in Cuba. Otherwise, half of them are just going to revolt back to Cuba. And you'll just have to go reconquer stuff you've already spent time conquering. And it's just got just enough mountainous terrain in this damn thing that even these deceivingly short distances can take hours to get across and go through. So that's the only way to take Cuba. And in the long run, in the amount of time it takes you to take over Cuba, you literally could take over most of Florida, half of Georgia, a little bit of South Carolina over here, and then maybe even some Alabama, Mississippi. I mean, you can get a lot more bang for your buck by ignoring Cuba. And I'm thinking the same way with the Quebec and Newfoundland area up here, especially this stupid island over here. It just, what is this? Yeah, Newfoundland. It's just not worth it. I mean, it's nice to get the oil from here, but it's not a lot of oil, and it's just a pain. Just if you can avoid it, stay away from there. So anyway, but I'm you can see I'm cleaning that up right now and getting it all back. I finally got it halfway under control. Alaska's under control. I'm cleaning it up. I'm sending reinforcements and stuff up there right now to go up and get it. So here's the last stand of Oregon, basically. California is completely gone down here. It still has a couple of things here and there. Maybe not. It might be gone too. No, I think it's gone now. So this is all Oregon and West British Columbia. And how they got all way down here, I don't know. But that's one of the problems with having the need for sleep is you miss a lot of this stuff. So anyway, I'm ending up reconquering some of this stuff 3, 4, 5, 6 times. It's just a pain in the ass because I only had one railroad gun up here. And then I got like 2 or 3 more. And then they all died, and they only had one single gun left that somehow survived. And the enemy forces were just going around it and recapturing stuff faster than I could even just get from one space to the next. And then I finally got some help with armored cars and light tanks, and I started to take back a bunch of this stuff and go to sleep, wake up next morning, everything's dead, everything's moved around, nothing's where I left it. And so what happened is Oregon and Minnesota sent all their forces over. We more or less attacked at the same time. I got kind of a head start only because of my work schedule and stuff. I had to send stuff when I sent it a little bit early, just because it would have been 12 hours, 14 hours before I had gotten back in touch with the game in order to join the attack that we were kind of half-ass coordinating. But it doesn't matter because my railroad guns are so slow. You can see where their units took over huge areas: Seattle, Salem, Eugene, and then down here in California they got some stuff: Fresno, Bakersfield, and some other things. But anyway, but the idea wasn't to necessarily win the game or anything. It was get rid of Oregon, just erase them off the map. So we've basically done that. There might be one or two little territories or something still left. I think it's up here in Alaska that's technically theirs. Let's see, Yukon, Oregon. Okay, so there's an Oregon right there. That might be it. Yeah, that's it. That's the last Oregon territory right there. And I've got this militia member, but it'll be half a day or more before it even gets in there and captures it. So, but it's inevitable. So the only thing left basically is clearing up a couple of units that Oregon still has left. So I wanted to show you this because it's not a rare thing necessarily, but it's rare for me. I understand now why I was losing so much territory and my railroad guns and other things were getting killed. It's because he has a railroad gun regiment here. So let's click on it and see what he's got. Currently, and this is after one militia unit has been killed. So he had 33 units stacked together. Currently, it has 517 out of 1,301 hit points. So 1,300 hit points. I think it had more than that at one time. I think it actually had like 1,700 or something. So let's see what he's got in this thing. He's got one self-propelled artillery piece, one self-propelled anti-air, 3 railroad guns, 2 motorized infantry, 7 militia, 7 mechanized infantry. That's a lot of hit points right there. No matter whether it does damage or not, that's just a lot of armored hit points. 7 infantry. Here's another infantry. A couple of heavy tanks, and then a single anti-air. And then it was, like I say, a militia that I've killed. But anyway, you can see what I've got going after this guy. So I've got 1, 7. So there's 8. 8 and 7 is 13. 16. So there's 9 and 7. So that's 16. This is 2. He isn't in the battle yet, but he'll be there. So there's 18. And then you come over here. What else do I have? I've got 3 more here. 4. So 18 and 4. 18 and 5. So 23 railroad guns, either actively engaged or within a couple hours of being engaged with this thing. So it's at the point now. It is oh, I'm clicking the wrong things. For as far as speed and power and everything, it's on low power due to damaged units, and you can see most of them are very low hit points. They're about to go. Uh, One of the strongest things still left actually is his railroad guns. He may have had more than three. He may have had four or five. I don't know. Anyway, the point is he's about dead. I know for a fact here in Roseburg he has at least one infantry unit still holding that territory. Uh, I'm sorry, it might be, it says West British Columbia, so it must be a West British Columbia infantry unit. But anyway, so Medford is still held by Oregon. Gold Beach is still held by Oregon, but I've got a railroad gun here that'll be taking it over in just a few minutes. Um, so two or three territories still held by Oregon on the map, but soon they will all go away. So we'll erase him, and that's just kind of a stick it to him personal victory for me. And I believe that Minnesota and Illinois are thinking the same thing. Now, as far as who's going to win the game, that's a good question. Right now, victory progress 1,090 out of 1,305. I had this up to 1,150, I believe, at one point. So it's gone down to 83.5% of necessary victory points. Now, other than West Ontario, which is a member of those two guys' coalition, who has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, no, 6. Is there a city in here? No, 6. So there's at least 6 cities there. That would still not put me at the correct number. Assuming I take 2 or 3 more territories up in here, I'm still going to be 100 points shy, which is essentially 10 cities. Also, and let's go to the no, let's type this. Okay, so their coalition, which is known as the Brave and the Vive, is at 1530, and they need 1,885. So they're, let's just say, what is that, 300, 200? 200 and some, 300 and some there, which is 30 cities. So they're not going to get that. The only way for somebody to win this, I think, is if they just attack me and take over some stuff, which they could do because he's got, if you'll notice here, he is, I think that's what he's setting up for Illinois and Minnesota. They've got different units staked out in cities that I have already conquered here, like Roswell, Las Cruces. He's got one heading for Tucson there. Come up here, Farmington, Santa Fe, Pueblo, it's Denver. See, he's got stuff all set up and everything. So they'll declare me enemy or whatever. And essentially just instantly win by taking those cities over. And I'm cool with that because I did what I wanted to do, and that was erase Oregon. That became my number one goal in this game. So to hell with Oregon. He got his. We're going to erase him out of this game. We erased basically their coalition, didn't we? Let's see here. Best in the West is Oregon. So yeah, so Northern California is gone. Oregon has 3 provinces. So we'll erase him out, and I believe that takes them out of the running. Doesn't it? Maybe not. Yeah, so then third place would go to West British Columbia, which is computer controlled. And he's not a member of anything. So he basically because of his actions and his messages, and which weren't particularly nasty or anything. It's just a crappy thing that he did. Uh, because of his actions, he's now going to get no points. He got some experience towards the game up here for his rank, but he's not going to get any of the gold or anything for the winnings from this game, as far as I know. So that's what I'm happy to see. Yes, it's a vindictive thing that we all three of us did, but I don't know. I feel warm inside, and I'm going to sleep nicely. So anyway, that's the wrap up. I'm not going to make any more videos for this particular series. It's obvious that those guys are going to win. Like I say, he's already positioned himself at cities to win, and that's cool. Um, I've been talking with these guys, and hopefully we can form our own coalition and take on other games and stuff. Because I like the way they played, they like the way I played. So maybe something will happen about that. Anyway, I've enjoyed making these videos. I know I'm not some big professional or anything. Uh, I don't write out scripts or anything. I'm just doing this by the seat of my pants. I'm an old man. I don't have time to mess around and do, fancy, slick YouTube videos. But I hope people have learned from strategy and other stuff. Um, some things. Maybe you do things a different way, and you like your way better than mine now that you've seen mine, and that's cool. I mean, but it's nice to always get some compare and some contrast, and get a little feedback. See how the other half lives, and that way you know how to counter if you see some of these things. If you see a player like me who's suddenly got scout cars and railroad guns following up, it may not be me, but you will know kind of maybe they're due to their aggressive gameplay. You will know that there are some things you can exploit and take advantage of that. So my naval bomber was destroyed by the railroad gun army here, which I don't care because I don't care about bombers that much. Sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. Just depends on where I start, which my starting country is, and how we're equipped, and what my neighbors are doing. So anyway, all right. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you learned something, and I'll catch you later.